Hi, everyone. Welcome to this Google Hangout. My name is Matt Corey, and I'm going to talk to you about open source software. So, open source software is something that is available to everyone, and this is something that pretty much started before the internet. Um, the internet just kind of made it easier to do. Um, you know, as long as something is made open to the public and made better, it is I consider it to be open source. Um, So, open source software is something that everybody uses and is something that everyone is able to use. Um, as open source software continues to grow, there are many advantages to it. And as it gets bigger, the advantages continue to grow with it. Here, previewing main points, I'm going to be telling you what it is, some miscellaneous and helpful information, how it can affect you, and some advantages and disadvantages. So, what it is, open source software gives universal access to a product's design or blueprint. So, for example, Apache, that is an example of open source software. Anybody's able to go in and download it and then make adjustments to how they like it. Um, so, like I just said, anybody can download it and then they modify it to how they want it. They create their own version of that software, and then you can go ahead and make that version that you just created and make that available to the public. So some miscellaneous you, it's like the origin of the term. It started off as like free software, but then a group of people came together and created open source software because they just were not in favor of the free software. So technically, free software and open source software are considered to be different things, but they just really haven't separated very much. They're pretty much identical. The only thing different are the rights and freedoms of the user. So some other information are some things that can be considered open source too. It's like a computer. It's like uh, a company can make their way of making a computer open to the public, and the public can edit it. Same thing with like a beverage formula or medicine type of medicine, and make your the company's formula for the medicine can be made available to the public, and anybody can uh, tinker with that formula for a medicine. It can also be used in the government and ethics. So, like in the government, government party may make a blog, and the followers of that party can give feedback pretty fast. So that way, the party can go and if they want to change something, they can go and based on their followers, they can change it. They know what they need to change. Also, like in ethics, you can learn different approaches to ethics with an open source software approach. Um, Pretty much, you can make another, for example, like a blog. People can blog about what's ethically right and wrong. It also can be used in the media and in education. So, like in the media, when somebody writes an article, there are oftentimes like comments, like a comment section. Anybody can write their own comments in there. It's available to anybody. Anybody can write. And also in like education, things like Wikipedia. People can go in there and edit a page on something and give their own insight on a topic, and then anybody can go and access it and read it and whatever. Uh, how open source software can affect you? It can make creating your own software a lot easier. So you can just go and download the big one, the broad one, and then make little edits for your own self. So this will save you time and cost you less money because you don't have to start from scratch. And then advantages, the cost is obviously an advantage because, like I just said, you don't have to start from scratch. It is open to public, so easy access, and the quality will be better because everybody's editing it. So the cost, open source software has saved all businesses in the world close to $60 billion. And that is because they don't have to start from scratch. They can take software and um, just make edits to it and exactly how they need it. The access, anybody can access the software. And once you access it, you're able to do anything that you want with it. There are no restrictions due to a vendor because you are your own vendor. And then the quality, it works on all systems, so you don't have to have a particular system. The security continues to get better because people continue to edit it. And of course, bugs get worked out because as people continue to edit it, little things are picked up and those little things are fixed. So, some disadvantages, it is not very user friendly and it can get somewhat complex because of how many people are editing it and how many different versions there are. So, basically, when you download open source software, it was made for the creator, it was not made for you. So basically, if you do not know how to use it, um, you're kind of out of luck, and it can get complex for reasons I just said. It's made for somebody else. It's not made for you. So you might not have a use for something, or as it continues to get edited, um, there are more and more things that go into the software, and it can may just get confusing. So review the main points. I told you what it is, some miscellaneous slash helpful information, how it can affect you, and I gave you some advantages and disadvantages. In conclusion, open source software can be very effective for many businesses and for you, for personal use of your own. It can help you with anything that you need. And that is all for this broadcast. I hope it helped.